Once upon a time, there was a man who married a very cute girl, and they moved to a mountain about 40 miles west of Washington, D.C. About 20 to 30 inches of snow per year. Here's a picture of it being piled up 4 feet high. This house was on a very steep driveway. To manage that snow, the man bought a Troy-built GTX 20 25 years ago. It's 2020 now, so it's a little long in the tooth. Had to get a new blade a couple of years ago, do some hydraulic work. Not many parts available for the old Troy-built anymore. But a couple of months ago, the old Troy-built found a new home. And of course, along the way, the Troy-built got a little brother. It was a Craftsman with a snow thrower on the front, which really works fine on cutting those banks down so they're manageable. But the man had a friend in Abingdon, Virginia, John, whose finance guy said, don't buy stuff anymore, lease it. So he got rid of all of his stuff that he bought, and he leased me for a very reasonable price this 2007 Yamaha Rhino 450, which I drove down to Abingdon and drove back here to our Sylvan Glen. And now, in September of 2010, a little over a year later, everything is complete with the modifications. Obviously, I wanted to get a plow to help out, and of course, four-wheel drive with high and low gear is very, very beneficial. And of course, the plow raises up, electronically raised by the winch, and it also goes down, all from inside the cab with one button. And then it has a electro-hydraulic ram that moves the blade left and right. And of course, two really spiffy, here's where your blade is, blue things that are bolted to the top. And again, I can't thank my neighbor Ray enough for doing the heavy-duty lifting, crawling underneath, putting his superpower hands under there and getting all the bolts tightened up. It was a real thrill to have to put a new winch on after we already had everything mounted for the old plow, but Ray was awesome. And he's got a little plow now too, so between the two of us, Collins Court is going to be clear and dry. And then I got cool remote control, battery powered, and it moves the plow up and it moves the plow down. So if you have to use it for a winch, you can get outside, no cords, bim bam, thank you ma'am. That electro-pneumatic or electro-hydraulic angling device is really spiffy. This came from KFI as well. And again, a lot of these plows have a pin in the front that you need to pull. You have to get out, trudge through the snow, turn the angle, get back in. Of course, put the pin in as well. This is all operated from one switch inside the cab. Speaking of which, I modified the dashboard to include one of those spiffy digital output Yamaha things with a note to remove the shoreline, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I also added light switches. It's got 2 USB ports, cigarette lighter port. I put in a console. It's even got a little door so you can hide your remote control and such inside. And what would be complete without a horn? Put LED lights on the front and the back. Both of the lights have a couple on the edges that light up the side. Ultimately, I'm going to hook up my rear lights to the backup light wire that's already installed, but I haven't quite found it yet. So now it's manual. But on the extreme left from the switches, you can see my up and down arrow for the winch and the plow, and the left and right switch for the angling part, which really adds. And of course, there's even the, this is how much voltage you have in your battery light indicator that goes on there. So that is my way cool light system. Here's my plug-in battery maintainer Shoreline. It keeps the battery all charged up. And of course, my ultimate learning experience was how to wire stuff. So I learned about relays and fuses and switch boxes and lots of testing equipment. It's not perfect, but it really does the job. And of course, I also replaced the headlights, the original halogens with LEDs. And I have high beams and low beams for those late night trips to the food truck at the community center during the COVID pandemic. And I had to buy the new winch because, as I said, the 1.5 did not hold the plow into the air, so I got a worn 3,500-pound winch that really does a nice job holding it up. Fair leads are installed. This is the VRX35, and I got that from Amazon at a good price. So there it is. She's all together, all done. Beth, I'll be inside now, not working outside all the time on this thing. Learned a lot, and the biggest thing I learned was how important in my life Ray and John are.